our DOT was getting ready to move forward with it. I spoke up at the same transportation meeting. I said, excuse me, are you serious? I mean, that's something you do not in the middle of or the heart of a city, but you do it on the outskirts of a city. And once I really spoke out against that, the school board got on board, Halifax got on board, Mainland High School with the school board came on board, the business people on Bevel Shops came on board, and everybody started then shouting and screaming, no, we don't want that, don't want that. As a result of that, we were able to kill those two overpasses that would have been put in place. I don't know if you're aware, and I know you're a supporter of Salvation Army and the like. They were looking to go where there's an amusement that's going out. Lucky's, yeah. They were looking to go out there. As soon as I heard about that, and I had some residents in Indigo say to me, Gwen, you know, that's going to bring the transient population out here. Property values will be affected, but the other thing is that you have them wandering around and they could end up getting hit or whatever else, traffic issues and the like. The lady, Lindsay, I believe, who was over the
Homeless Coalition.
Yes, Homeless Coalition. She agreed with me that that was the wrong place for Salvation Army to move. So I was able to, from virtue of the fact that it was in my zone, speaking before the commission, and they supported me in not allowing that to happen, because if it had happened, we would not have had some of the businesses there that we are looking at now. Those are just some of the examples of some of the things that I was able to accomplish as a city commissioner. And really and truly, I look forward to doing, and I think we could have done so much more. But I'm sure you understand the way the commission is set up. Each representative has a zone. The representative in the zone represents those within their zone. And though there are things that we work to do, we try to do together to help protect the city and look out for the interests of the city, sometimes we're not really encouraged to do that much in getting into another person's zone. So as a result, sometimes there are things that you aren't able to do as successfully in other zones. But to the extent that I could help in other zones, I did work with them to do that.
We're talking to Gwen Azama-Edwards. She's a candidate for mayor, City of Daytona Beach. We accept phone calls. The phone number is 523-1380, 523-1380. Why do you progress from commissioner? Why didn't you run for commissioner again? Why mayor? What's the drive to run for mayor?
And I know it has been said, and it's true. If I had stayed in my commissioner position, I would still be commissioner today. One of the things that you find out being on the commission is that being a commissioner is a great position to be in, but it's also limiting. When you're a mayor, you really and truly have more of an opportunity to put your stamp on what it is that goes on with the city. You have an opportunity to really see a lot more happen citywide, not just within a zone, but citywide, in terms of improving the life and lifestyle and improving all of the other aspects of what goes on in the city. And it is that position that really has a lot more opportunity to help the residents, a lot more opportunity to help the businesses, a lot more opportunity to really, Big John, to set the mindset for how things are to be done and will be done in working for the betterment of all of the city.
We're talking to Gwen Azama-Edwards. If you want to call in, 523-1380. The other day, Mike Shallow, who also ran for mayor once, I think against you, he said there should be 5 questions we should ask, so I asked him to write down 5 questions.
Thank you, Mike.
And someone called in and said, what has the city done right? So I just want to get these out of the way quickly. Mike said the things that the city of Daytona Beach has done correctly are as follows. Number 1, demolishing things or hiring others to demolish things, especially historic structures. Number 2.
I don't think demolishing historic structures is doing something right. I think demolishing those things, those places that are beyond repair in such a neglectful state I could see that and making room for development and redevelopment, but not demolishing our historic
Well, this is what
sites.
this is Mike's thought.
Yeah, I know. But can I just
No, absolutely.
say in
I've
addition?
been married twice. Both
Yeah, I
times
know. You know, people who do not have historical, it could be sites, it could be places or artifacts or something else that speaks to their history, is a people who does not value and recognize the value of their past. And while we've been walking in the neighborhoods, there are some gorgeous, gorgeous homes that are here in our city, and they are built with a historical, sometimes Spanish kind of motif. Some are older buildings that you could tell they've just been there for a long time, and they have historical value to them. And there are, of course, other buildings that the Historical Trust has taken on to preserve, buildings that the city at times has let go into and get into neglected types of state, and I think that's shameful on our part, because if we don't value our history, we don't value those things that really speak to who we are and who we were, then it's kind of difficult for us to have the kind of pride that we need to have, and not just who we are, but who we were and how we got to where we are. So I think that there's great value in our historical buildings and our historical sites and in our history that allows us to understand who we are and how we got to where we are.
I'm going to come back to the pier later, but because I was just going to read Shadow's comments.
Okay,
but
now to the second. Okay, go to the second.
So I do want to tell you that the other day Libby called in when Pat Drago was on the air as a League of Women Voter person, along with Ann Smith.
Yeah, I'm past president of that.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Ann Smith, who must be respected because she's tough. So anyway, not like Pat. So anyway, I did not know Pat was the chairman of the Historic Preservation. And I talked to another member of Historic Preservation last night, and the city has changed the historicness of the pier, which they
Yes, I'm told that the structure has been changed to the
modified.
point where it's...
Yeah, the roof line has been changed, which is a no-no in historic
That's
preservation.
right, that's right.
So, I don't think the city of Daytona Beach at this time respects historic stuff very much.
Well,
at least the administration does.
I agree with you, and when you think about the fact that the historic designations, the local designation that we have now, that myself and so many others fought for the city to have, to recognize it. I mean, that was a long drawn out fight. The manager put that off as long as he could, and then finally the mayor took it up and brought it to the forefront. But even in terms of the historic districts and recognizing all of the historic districts, they recognize maybe about half of them, when there are several more that could be recognized and should be recognized. We've had speakers here big, and I don't know if you've gone to any of those sessions where they've actually talked about the value, the economic value of historic buildings and sites in a city. And to the extent that you can actually not only bring in tourists that would want to see those places, but you can also build upon the value of that and get grant dollars and everything else to be able to do the work, a lot of the structural work that needs to be done to bring them back up to par, to keep them and maintain them in such a great condition. There are any number of things that you can do, that you should do, that we should be doing as a city, and not only recognizing but in embracing this historical value that we have with these buildings and sites. So I agree with you. We've not done enough, and there's more that we should do.
It appears that the manager doesn't have great love in his heart for history, and seems to overlook it. We'll take a phone call. Hi, you're in the doghouse. Fine, thank you. How are you? No, I believe the city did it, not Joe's.
The city staff allowed them to do it,
All
yeah,
right.
right.
So right now, well, let's ask Gwen, should we try to correct it, Gwen?
Well, what needs to happen is that someone contact the National Historic Registry, which I'm told that that's what the building was listed under, to find out what are the steps that are necessary in order to keep the building on the National Registry, because it really may be, from what I gather, it may be in jeopardy now.
Yeah.
And when you do that to such a building, such a structure, generally there are fines that are associated with that and other actions that they take.
Adaptive reuse, Patty, is usually on the inside, not on the outside.
Right, right. So if Pat Drago, who is the chair of the historic, well, if no, that's what should happen, is the Historic Preservation Board and our Historic Board that Pat Drago chairs, they're the ones who should, that's part of what they're supposed to do. They're the ones who should step forward and present something to the National Register to let them know that there has been some changes made that are not in line with what is allowed for that building, and then go forward and
Don't
see
you
what
think
happens.
that will make the manager mad?
Well, I'm sure it would make the manager mad. It never really and truly it shouldn't have gotten to this point. It should not have gotten to this point. Yes, that is a part of what I gather is required when you're dealing with a historic structure. I'm sure you've heard stories from individuals who are business owners who have moved into a historic building about all the things that they're allowed to do and not allowed to do. Oh, absolutely. But I'm saying that I'm told that the staff approved those plans.
One of my friends, Patty, said we should rename it as the New Iconic Historic Pier. Well, we're going to see. If Gwen gets elected, we'll see what she does.
You should get with the city commission. You should get with the historic board. You should get with historic preservation board as well.
Chisler. Well, no, he's the boss, and he's the one. And I got an oyster pub hot dog that said he didn't care. And when they met, and I know there was some bureaucrat at City Hall, I'm sure brought it to someone's attention. Don't you think?
I can tell you that Chris Don most recently brought it to the commission's attention, but it is the mayor that you probably need to contact immediately. He hasn't gotten any response. He has not gotten a response.
Now, after all those millions of dollars, right? Yeah. Well, Patty, we've got some more really good stuff to talk about today. Thank you for calling.
Thank you, Patty.